Hello and welcome to another episode of the Spotlight Sessions. I'm the host, Ilan Fisher, and I'm really excited to be having a conversation today with Theodora Brinckman, the CEO and Executive Director of the Habilitas Foundation in Canada. How's it going, Theo?
It's going great. Thank you so much. We're in the festive mood here in Montreal, Quebec, and just loving all the holiday festivities.
Yeah, we're in very festive spirit. I've got my Christmas jumper, and it's an ugly Christmas jumper, so that's always great. So Theo, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your history. You've worked in a lot of really interesting places. I'd love to hear more about that.
Sure. Well, I've been at the foundation for about 10 years now, and it's flown by. Every day is so busy and full of different activities. But prior to the foundation, I was certainly involved in philanthropy through McGill University, as well as several other schools in the city. But prior to getting into philanthropy, I had a small business. And so I really learned the value of and trying different things and being creative about approaching projects and one's work. So I really hold that close to me, and it's carried me well through my career.
Amazing. And with Habilitas, I came into contact with Habilitas because you work very closely with one of our nonprofit partnership managers, Sheldon Lewis. Tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing, and also a little bit about kind of how it's been to work with Sheldon.
Well, number one, Sheldon is amazing. We just really appreciate working with him. He's on our philanthropy committee and is just always the first one to say, yes, I'll help you out. And he truly understands the value of the work that we're doing and who we're helping. So his voice is extremely valued, and he's just a wonderful spirit. Habilitas is a really interesting foundation. We have a wide mission. Ultimately, our mission is to build a world where disabilities are no longer disabling. That's the bottom line. We serve 4 different impairment areas, or people living with different impairments. There's the vision, hearing, motor, and as well as communication for the children. And to add to that, it's all age ranges. So it's quite a broad mandate, but at the same time, a very meaningful one. And so that's really what we're focused on doing.
Amazing. And to ask like a little bit about some of those specifics, what is the kind of programming you offer for people with vision impairments, for example?
Well, it's a whole host. We actually have various different partners. So we support what's called the Lethbridge Leighton Mackay Center. It's a rehabilitation center here in the city, and they do serve all 4 impairment areas. So they have just a wide range, certainly for vision and hearing. So there's a very interesting one is the Botox Clinic, which actually they use Botox and they inject it in so that for people who have issues with saliva management, they drool and it can really cause a lot of various different difficulties. So they use Botox to manage it. So this just gives you one example of some of the creativity initiative that goes on with that partner. But then we also support Camp Massawippi, which is for certainly not just during the summer months, but also during the year, and really offering respite for the families and just really wonderful programming for the campers themselves. Additionally, we are supporting Action Center, which is a day center for adults living with motor impairments in the city. They've been closed down until recently due to COVID, so we're really pleased that they've just reopened. And they have all different educational creative programming, life skills, and a lot of different skill sets are offered to this clientele who otherwise would be living quite an isolated life. And so there's sort of the technical side of what's being offered. It's, things like learning how to manage your saliva, but then there's also just enjoying life and really giving quality of life to people, which I think is, critical for people.
That's incredible, and I love how you've taken your skill set from a small business owner, translating that into the executive director of the foundation, where really again sourcing and working with different partners. You mentioned Camp Massawippi, and we're really proud to have been sponsors for one of their fundraisers. So again, thank you for everything.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Exactly. I'm not quite the golfer, my golf skills have disintegrated, you could say, over the years. But we're really proud to partner up with Camp Mississippi and the Habilitas Foundation in really supporting that mission. And we talked a little bit about sourcing partners and kind of that outreach work that you're doing. What does your role as CEO look like on the day-to-day? Are you on the technical side, on the vision side? Tell me a little bit about what that looks like.
I think it depends on the day, which is, it's a very, very varied job. I mean, that's one of the things I love about it, actually. I work with the board of directors, and we have just an incredible leadership team. Kippy Wiegand is our chair, and he's just been an incredible person to lead us through many changes. We always say there's never a dull moment with the foundation, and that's absolutely true. And so my day-to-day really is varied. It can go from, yes, high strategy, and in fact, we're in the process of a strategic planning exercise right now, and really looking and seeing what we want to achieve tomorrow in the next couple of years. So that's a big part of it. But then there's just going to one of the schools that we support, and going and visiting with the students there and the teachers and talking to them and really hearing their stories and being able to translate that and share that with the donors in the community. So there's sort of a creative side to what I do. There's a leadership vision and strategic planning side to what I do. And then, there's, like everybody, part of the job, which is sort of more technical, if you want to say, and kind of, administrative, and making sure the whole foundation is clicking along as it should in an efficient manner.
Amazing. And how many people are currently working at the foundation?
Actually, right now we're 4, although we're looking to recruit a few right now. And so
amazing. And if we can do anything to help with that, we would definitely be keen and up for it. So the foundation, you've been working there for quite a while now. What is an achievement you're most proud of, either at the foundation or kind of in your extensive career?
Oh gosh, well, besides being a mom, and which is always one of the obvious, but I think, one of my greatest prides is being able to have associated myself with organizations, and truly in particular Habilitas, with strong values and an authenticity around it as part of its character. I would have a difficult time working in an environment that wasn't like that, or wasn't aligned with my own values. So I think that's one of the things that I take great pride in, and being able to build also a culture of strong, like I said, strong values and a commitment to truth and to making a difference in this world. And I think that this positivity can really carry one along a long way. And so it translates into some of the wonderful projects that we're working on. For example, an inclusive playground, which we're currently raising funds for and doing extremely well for children at the adapted schools. And just looking at how, when we tell our story and tell the story for the students, on behalf of the students to donors, how people respond. And I think that's just something that as an organization we should take great pride in. It also came through very strongly during COVID, when it was a very difficult time for many, and continues to be, unfortunately. But I think what I witnessed through our organization, through the hard work of certainly not just myself, but the board of directors, the volunteers like Sheldon, the team at the office, the donors, is the strength of the relationships that we had built. We're not a transactional organization. We really are dedicated and committed to the relationship building. And this held us in good stead over the last couple of years. And I think it was such a beautiful learning. We knew it already, but to see it in action in such an incredible way. And it continues to be that way, whether it be the golf tournament like yourselves coming, being able to support that initiative. But really it's the relationships that we build, and that comes through strong values and being transparent and truthful in what we do.
I love that little phrase which you said, which is, we're not a transactional organization. We're all about the relationships. And I think that's really important. I think during the past couple of years, people have realized, what actually is the most important thing? It's health. It's really being happy and proud and content to where you are, because you can that's when you strip everything back, that's really the most important thing. And I always think back to really my job over here, how lucky I am to really be able to work with disability focused organizations, or to actually make an impact. So that's something that I always think about, like, wow, after working at this job, I don't know where else I'll work, to be
Well,
honest.
that's a really good point, and I think I look at it as a privilege. The job I have, it's a privilege for me to have this job and to be able to make a difference in people's lives. You're absolutely right. I think the learnings from this last year is like what is important to us as individuals, as a community, as a society, and helping those that are having greater challenges than ourselves is just, there's no higher calling in a lot of ways. And so I think that, yeah, we really are believers of the relationship. And if you were to ask me what I do, I would never, ever answer, I'm a fundraiser. That's just not who I am. I'm a philanthropist, and that's a big difference. Fundraising is part of it, don't get me wrong. Fundraising is definitely part of it, but it's just part of it. And so we're in it for the long term. And we really, we'll work with a potential donor, for example, for a number of years. And if for whatever reason they decide that they want to put their energy or their resources elsewhere, that's okay too. And so you want to pay it forward, and you want to really make every kind of touch point with us to be as positive as possible, because there's enough tough times out there, tough situations out there, that we're all just working together. And I think as philanthropists, as a community, I think we need to really rally together, and there's many great causes out there, and so I think, again, I go back to speaking our truth. We speak our truth, and we're storytellers. So we tell the stories, we're privileged to be able to tell the stories of those who are helping. And it's just a humbling exercise in so many ways. Our community, they were already isolated before coming, let's say, into a situation like COVID. Hard for them to get out. If you think about it, if you're in a wheelchair and there's snow and ice, it's just not easy to navigate Montreal sidewalks at the best of times. So let alone, if you have some impairments. And so if we can make the world more open and accessible to everybody, then that's true equality. That's equality, and that's why the important work of accessiBe is so critical, is allowing people to, through the use of technology, to open up a whole world and to feel connected and to break those walls of isolation. So truly, kudos to you and the whole team there, because it does make a difference.
And thank you. And we're really privileged to be working alongside you as really one of our flagship partners and partnerships. And the way you describe it, you really only partner with organizations that truly align with your vision. So we're very honored about that. And that kind of links me to my next question, which is really, you spoke a little bit about inclusive playgrounds, adaptive playgrounds, as well as inclusivity on the web. But what does accessibility mean to you, and how's that definition sound to Theo, really?
I think accessibility to me, really what it means is equality. We all have a right to live our lives and to be the best that we can be. That might sound a little bit cliche, but it's the truth. And so to realize our greatest potential, and that's a whole rainbow. It's a whole broad spectrum. Some people living with some physical impairments, you would not know. You really wouldn't know, and they can navigate fairly easily in our world. But then there's others that it's just a huge challenge. And so for me, accessibility is breaking down those barriers and ensuring, being pragmatic about it. So making sure our physical world is set up so that people can get around and wheelchairs can get through doors. And there's just all these different practical devices that are put in place. But I also think accessibility also is a mindset, and it's being able to look at somebody and to see their true self, and to see that, the physical impairment does not define who somebody is. It will be part of whom they are, but it's not defining them as a person. So I always encourage people to look beyond that and to see the person. And it's not always easy. I remember when I first started at the foundation, I'm not a trained healthcare professional, and I would see some of the situations with the children where they're multiply impaired, and the first few days I was just like, I didn't know how to see beyond their impairments. And, eventually, slowly, I would stand and chat with the person who was looking after them, and then all of a sudden, of course, that's just a child in front of me, and they happen to be in a wheelchair and have a feeding tube and other things but I don't even see it anymore. And I wish for a world that could be like that could just truly see the person. So much untapped potential in this community, and intelligence and beauty and pride and just a resilience. It's an incredible I say, I go to work every day and I see the strength of the human spirit. It's strong. It's doing well. It allows people to do things they never thought possible. And part of our work is supporting the healthcare professionals and all the other professionals to allow, whether we have different sort of groups of people. So we have, the clients at the rehab center, we have the campers at camp, we have the members at Action Center, students at the school, but ultimately all of them are receiving care and services, and all of them, the goal is to allow them to realize their potential. We don't cure. Through the foundation, we're not able to cure. That happens at the hospital level. When they come through our organizations that we support, it's really about quality of life. And quality of life is hugely important, and it offers hope and meaning to people. And it's a beautiful thing to see when it works.
That's such an important message, and something that when you were describing kind of your journey, I see a lot of parallels with my journey. I didn't grow up being in the accessibility world or specifically working with people with disabilities, but the more I meet and interact and work alongside people with disabilities, I realize, hey, people are people first, and the disability is just another facet of their personality and their makeup and who they are. So right now I can have a conversation, interaction with a person with a disability, but I'll think about them first as a person, and then their disability is just one element of that. So that's something that's really important, and I really hope that, again, we're going to have a world where people look at people first rather than their disability. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and that also leads me to really my final question, which is to the business community and people who aren't necessarily in the nonprofit world or working with the Habilitas Foundation. What is your message to that community? How can they better cater to the people that you cater for?
Well, I think you just said it beautifully. First of all, look at the person in front of them to see what it is that person can offer, and to treat them as you would treat any other candidate. Now, of course, there's going to be some physical requirements with many of them, and so I asked at the business community to look and to see how they can allow themselves to be an accessible workplace environment on the physical, sort of practical side of things. But that can happen. I think it's more a mindset, and I think it's being able to see and I remember speaking to one beautiful soul from the Action Center. She was a woman. She was, I want to say, in probably her 40s, and was frankly in a wheelchair and just not physically. It was sort of a little bit difficult to see, but we had the most beautiful conversation. And what she said to me was, she said, all I want to do is work. I want to work in accounting. I've been taking courses, and I'm sure if someone was to first see her, you would go, oh, okay, it's not the typical someone coming with the suit with the, and looking, sort of the high uber professional, but at the same time, someone who's just wanting to work and give back, and she's going to be reliable and do the job. And so I think seeing beyond some of what the obvious barriers are there, and allowing people to show their true selves and to show value is really important. And I think if we look back over the last couple of years, we've all had to pivot in how we work. I mean, it's not been easy sometimes, but it's also been very empowering. And I would think, within the business world, they've learned so many things about how to make their world and their workplace environments more accessible, if it's from a distance or if it's even in if people are coming into the workplace, and to take those learnings to say, okay, there's different ways we can approach the workforce and to approach how we hire and how we accommodate people. So I really think there's a lot of work to be done. You're right. There's no question there, but it can be done. And I think that everybody will benefit if professionally, some of the folks that aren't able to find work can do that. And they just need a little bit of support. And I think that the payback would be in spades for sure.
Absolutely. I think the two words is you need that initial support, but the return is massive. So Theo, I really just wanted to thank you and Habilitas for really being such incredible partners of ours. We're very, very grateful for our relationship and all the work that you do. And I look forward to our next conversation, our next event, and maybe to visit in Canada one day. Who knows?
That would be wonderful. We'd love to host you here. And listen, thank you so much for all that you do through accessiBe and through your own journey and learning about this world. And there's a lot of work to be done, but I think collectively, if we come together and create some good synergies, it's going to make this world a more beautiful place, frankly, and it will allow those living with disabilities to really be embraced on all levels.
Absolutely. Speak soon.
Thank you. Stay well.